Hi. Hi. So yesterday I was browsing Twitter and I found a weird hashtag on trend here. I thought I missed some funny internet content, but when I clicked into it, it turns out it's just a bunch of nonsense sent by bots. So I was thinking maybe Twitter got DDoS attacked by someone. And I was thinking, wow, maybe I can do a presentation on my info network interview about DDoS attack and mitigations. So let's dive into this topic. So before talking about DDoS attack, let's firstly talk about DOS attack, aka denial of service. DOS is a cyber attack in which a single perpetrator seeks to make a machine or network resources unavailable to its intended users by temporarily or indefinitely disrupting services of a host or a server. This might be too abstract to understand. So let's take a look at this image. From a high level, look at DOS attack is like an unexpected traffic jam clogging up the highway, preventing regular traffic from arriving at its destination. It normally has two attacking methods, and I will explain them later. A DDoS attack is just a multiple sources version of DOS attack. And you might ask, how do the attackers use other sources or computers to conduct DDoS attack? The simple answer is that they can use malware programs to infect other vulnerable computers, so that thousands of zombie computers would form a so-called botnet. Once a botnet has been established, it's a certain time, the attacker is able to direct an attack by sending remote instructions to each bot. When a victim's server or network is targeted by the botnet, each bot sends requisites to the target's IP address, potentially causing the server or network to become overwhelmed, resulting in a denial of service to normal traffic. So the honored users like you and me are not able to use the web services after DDoS attack. The attack can last for minutes to days and causes huge damages. Beginning on April 27, 2007, a series of DDoS attack targeted websites of Estonian organizations. So for 22 days, the whole country experiences a huge pause on the website services, including the banks, ministries, newspapers, and broadcasters. So DDoS attacks can actually cause severe consequences. And let's talk a little bit deeper about the attacking types and strategies. Network has basically 7 layers. An application layer is used by end user software, such as web browsers and email clients. And one of the very common attack happens on application layer is called HTTP flood. This attack is similar to pressing refresh button in a web browser over and over on many different computers at once. Large numbers of HTTP requisites flood the server, resulting in denial of service. So HTTP requests have GET and POST methods. HTTP fraud attackers use POST requests. So POST requests tend to be the most resources effective way, as POST requisites may include parameters that triggers complex server-side processing. And on the other hand, HTTP GET-based attacks are simpler to create and can be more effectively scaled in a botnet scenario. Another attack happens on protocol side. and the attackers will use a method called SYN flood. So imagine we are in a drive-through restaurant. A SYN flood is analogous to a cashier in drive-through restaurant, receiving requisites from the front of the store. The cashier receives the requests, goes and gets a meal, and waits for the customers to show up, which is like a confirmation before bringing the meal out front. The cashier then gets many more meal orders without customers showing up until they can't carry any more meals, become overwhelmed, and requests start going unanswered. So that when we goes to the drive-through, nobody's going to take our meal. This attack exploits the TCP handshake, the sequence of communication by which two computers initiate a network connection by sending a target a large number of TCP initial connection requests, SYN packets with spoofed source IP addresses. The target machine responds to each connection request and then waits for the final step in the handshake, which never occurs. So the target server will exhausted, and all the resources in the process will be exhausted. Basically, hackers have three incentives to conduct DDoS attack: financial reason, asking for money, and political reasons and hacktivisms. Basically, all the big tech companies like Amazon, Microsoft, Google have been attacked by DDoS attack. And according to Cisco statistic, the amount of DDoS attack increases every year. So it's still a big problem in internet world. Now let's talk about some mitigation for DDoS attack. DDoS mitigation has 4 stages: detection, response, routing, and adaptation. Detection is just basically we distinguish an attack when DDoS attack happens. Response, and for the response stage, the DDoS protection network responds to an incoming identified threat by intelligently dropping malicious bot traffic. Routing is basically route the traffic intelligently. An effective DDoS mitigation solution will break the remaining traffic into manageable chunk to prevent denial of services. A good adaptation has a good network analysis traffic for patterns such as repeating offending IP blocks, particularly the attacks coming from certain countries or particular protocols being used. There are many mitigation technologies nowadays, and to help us better understand these technologies, we have let's assume a scenario. We have an organization has a website that can handle 1,000 requests per second. However, the website is only configured to handle 1,000 requests based on the expected traffic. And based on the knowledge we learned, we know that this website can be easily DDoS detected. So what do? We have many choices. Firstly, we can limit the number of requisites a server will accept over a certain time window to mitigate denial of services attacks. Similarly, to set a limitation for each IP addresses. We can also use a strategy called reducing attacking surface. For example, we can have our web servers in public subnet, but the underlying database servers should be in a private subnet, so the resources can be harder to target. We can also use firewalls and network access control lists to allow only necessary traffic to necessary ports from necessary hosts, so that the traffic from certain IP address may not come into our server. We can also use finally, we can use another strategy called black hole routing. When black hole filtering is implemented without specific restriction criteria, both legitimate and malicious network traffic is routed to a null route or black hole and dropped from the network. Based on the pattern, if we identify the attacker, then we could filter those packets and route them to the backhaul. And that's it. Thank you.